Hey guys, Alex here from the DMs Club on the Titan Bear Gaming YouTube channel. I'm continuing to take you through Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and today I'm focusing on the new Druid archetypes that are available, the new Druid Circles. If you want to follow along, they start over on page 21 of Xanathar's Guide, and like most of the classes, they start out with some role-playing stuff. They start out with some extra thematic pieces that you can talk about and you can read here. Just like the Cleric, you have a treasured item. This is some kind of widget or some kind of small possession that your character may have in their possession that they value. It can be a holy item, or it can be something that has some kind of personal significance to them. It doesn't need to be terribly much, or it can be very significant. Some of the examples they came up with are a twig from the meeting tree that stands in the center of your village, special herbs tied together in a bundle, a small bronze bowl engraved with animal images. It can really be anything, but it gives you some kind of little treasure or some kind of little tchotchke that your character might actually have a strong personal value towards. You also get the guiding aspect as something they talk about here. And this is some kind of natural element or a creature, an animal, something, some kind of force of nature or a being within nature that you find some kind of kinship with, that you view as some kind of guide. I think of this one as being the grandma in Moana, how she's got such her love affair with manta rays. She's got her manta ray tattoo and believes that she'll be reincarnated as a manta ray. I think it's something similar to this. The examples that they give are a river, or birds in the sky, or oak trees, or something like this. Interesting things. They also suggest things like mentors being a common thing that would-be druids would go seek out to try and get some level of tutelage or training out in the world to develop their powers as a druid. This one is actually really funny to me because I've got two druids that are showing up at my next gaming table, and one of them is option 6 here on the mentor chart, which is your mentor was a werebear who taught you to treat all living things with equal regard. I'm going to be doing a polar bear werebear as kind of an Ursa druid shaman leader for one of my druids. I think they're really going to like it. So these are some cool options to get you to think about where your character might come from, what kinds of things bind them to the natural world, and how do they have an appreciation for the natural world. On to the new archetypes. Now, as a druid, you pick an archetype, which is called your Druid Circle, when you reach level 2, and there are 2 new ones here in Xanathar's Guide, the Circle of Dreams and the Circle of the Shepherd. First, let's talk about the Circle of Dreams. I think this one's really fun and really interesting. It tries to channel the concept of the Feywild and having this dream-like link back to the Feywild. You have a strong resonance with the Feywild. It says that you have a guardianship of the natural world that makes for a natural alliance between you and good aligned Fey. And you get a bunch of powers that channel Fey powers pretty strongly, and I think that they're all put together pretty well here for the Circle of Dreams Druid package. The first power you get is the Balm of the Summer Court. This one acts as something like the Lay on Hands pool that the Paladin gets for doing some healing outside of casting spells. But it operates a little bit differently here. It's got kind of a unique element to how it operates. The way that it goes is you have a pool of Fey energy represented by a number of D6s equal to your Druid's level. So it's not just the same as the Paladin where it's just a fixed number of hit point pool that you can spend. As a bonus action, you can choose one creature you can see within 120 feet of you, so pretty long range, and spend a number of those dice equal to half your druid level or less, so you have a cap on how many of these you can spend in a single bonus action. Roll the spent dice and add them together. The target regains a number of hit points equal to the total. Cool, so you've got a healing pool that you can now spend for rolling some dice and get some health back to your friends. The target also gains 1 temporary hit point per die spent, so you kind of get a minimum bonus that you're going to be getting, and since it's temporary hit points, those have a nice extra effect for buffering hit points on top. It's nice. It helps add a level of healing, buffering, and additional healing throughput that doesn't actually cost magic spells, which means that you can either get a lot of healing if you're going to use your magic spell slots for casting healing magic, or if you're going to use those spell slots for utility magics or offensive magics, you still have the ability to do some healing output for your party. What's more is, since it's not cast as a spell of any type, all that it says is, you are a font of energy that offers respite from injuries. Choose a creature that you can see within 120 feet, and they just regain the hit points. So if you can't speak, it's probably fine. If you can't move, it's also probably fine. It's just a power that takes effect. It's nice. It's big. You regain all of your expended hit dice when you finish a long rest too, so you don't have to worry about the usual things for like hit die or anything else where you only recover half of them or something. You get all of the healing dice back when you finish a long rest, so you've got the full pool available to you the next day. At 6th level, you get an ability called Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow, which is a cool one. This one is kind of a ribbon ability, but it does give you some good mechanical effects that are going to happen a lot at the game table. home. At 6th level, home can be wherever you are. During a short or long rest, you can invoke the shadowy power of the Gloaming Court to help guard your respite. At the start of your rest, you touch a point in space, and an invisible 30-foot radius sphere of magic appears, centered on that point. No light can go out of that sphere, so if you have a campfire, or if you've got some light spells or whatever, it appears as though you're in perfect darkness, which gives you a nice bonus to not being able to be seen by passing creatures, or if someone's hunting for you, or something else of that ilk. Also, while you're within the sphere, you and your allies gain a +5 bonus to stealth and perception rolls. Wow, this is huge. Remember, +5 is mathematically equivalent to having advantage on the check, but since it's not advantage, that means that it will stack with advantage if you had some other effect that would also give you advantage. So this can be really big. The sphere vanishes at the end of the rest or whenever you leave the sphere. This is huge. I like this one a lot. This can help make it so that the dangerous space that you find yourself in whenever you have to take a rest outside of town is a little bit safer and makes you a little more aware and a little more resilient to random encounters. At 10th level, you get a cool power called Hidden Paths. Now, this one might seem a little bit out of character for this, but if you'll think about it, a lot of the other Fae references throughout the rule books, like for the Warlock Pact or any of the Fae monsters that are in the monster manual, they all have some kind of teleportation effect. And so this is your teleportation effect. You can use the hidden magical pathways that some Fae use to traverse space in the blink of an eye. As a bonus action on your turn, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. GG, bonus action, you can teleport 60 feet. Cool, I like it. Alternatively, you can use an action instead of a bonus action to teleport one willing creature that you touch up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses whenever you finish a long rest. Basically, you can teleport other people to places. Now, they do need to be a willing creature, and they can go only up to 30 feet, so it's a shorter distance, but you can still teleport friends places on your turn. I'm thinking Fastball Special meets Super Saiyan for teleporting over right next to the enemy. Could be a lot of fun, and you can do it a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, so you're popping this thing out 3, 4, or 5 times per adventuring day. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. At 14th level, you get Walker in Dreams, which is another really cool one. It takes effect on your short rests or your long rests and gives you the ability to kind of double down in terms of what you're able to do during that short rest or long rest. When you finish a short rest, you can cast one of the following spells without expending a spell slot or requiring material components. Cool, right? Dream, with you as the messenger, Scrying, or Teleportation Circle. This is pretty sweet. To remind you, Dream basically gives you the ability to inception people that you're familiar with. You become the messenger and you go visit them the next time that they go to sleep, and you can impart messages to them or terrorize them as a nightmare or something. Very cool effect. Scrying is the bread and butter for scrying. It lets you keep an eye on things going on anywhere else in the world. It's got an unlimited range so long as it's still on the same plane of existence. And it lets you do some good reconnaissance style things. And remember, this happens without expending a spell slot, and it doesn't require any material components. And it's just any time that you perform a short rest. This is big. This is a big deal. I really like this one. The teleportation circle is special. This one's a little bit different than the normal ones. Rather than opening a portal to a permanent teleportation circle like a normal teleportation circle spell would operate, this one opens a portal to the last location where you finished a long rest on your current plane of existence. Think of this one as being like Diablo, being able to cast like a scroll of town portal or something like that. You cast teleportation circle in this way, and it will teleport you to the last space where you went nap, the last space where you took a sleep. If I had a character that had this in the game, I would be playing it where the Circle of Dreams Druid would try to encourage the players to take rests in known safe places so that you always had the ability to just stop and take a short rest, and then you could teleport the whole party back to that safe space to keep kind of this trail of safe spaces behind them. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, so you can only choose to do this once per day. You got to pick which one of these spells you're going to end up doing, but I think this one's got a lot of benefit. This one's got a lot of high impact. The next circle that is in the book is the Circle of the Shepherd. This one embodies kind of a different thematic aspect than the Fae-centric one for the Circle of Dreams. This one's got a little bit more of a guardian of the natural world and tries to take a little bit more of a attachment to the living creatures that are within that world. It does channel a little bit of Fae it does talk about the Feywild. This one's a very summoner-heavy archetype, very summoner-heavy circle for druids, and you'll understand what I mean when we get through some of these powers. Starting at 2nd level, you get Speech of the Woods, which grants you the ability to converse with beasts and many Fey. You get proficiency in Sylvan, so you can read, speak, and write Sylvan, as well as beasts can understand your speech, and you gain the ability to decipher their noises and motions. Now, it does throw in the restrictions of most beasts don't really have the brain capacity to be able to communicate complex thoughts. Sorry, beasts. But they do have the ability to recount their personal experiences or relay what they've seen or they've heard or something to that effect. So you'll still be able to get some good use out of it in terms of using the natural beasts of the world as kind of a natural messenger or as spies for you. Also at 2nd level, you get Spirit Totem. And this is kind of the new mechanic that you'll get as the Circle of the Shepherd. That's the thing. It's like your main thing as the Circle of the Shepherd druid. When you do Spirit Totem, you can call forth nature spirits to influence the world around you. As a bonus action, you can magically summon an incorporeal spirit to a point you can see within 60 feet. The spirit creates an aura in a 30-foot radius around that point. The spirit is neither a creature nor an object, though it has the spectral appearance of the creature that it represents. You can move it with a bonus action, and it lasts for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated, but you can do it every short rest, so you recover this ability every time that you take a rest. You could do it a lot. The different effects are based on which type of spirit you choose when you cast it. Bear Spirit, each creature of your choice in the aura when the spirit appears, gains temporary hit points equal to 5 plus your druid level, so yay, some nice temporary hit point recovery for your friends. In addition, you and your allies gain advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws while in the aura. Cool, strength-based stuff. The Hawk Spirit is a consummate hunter. It aids your allies with its keen sight. When a creature makes an attack roll against a target in the spirit's aura, you can use your reaction to grant advantage to that attack roll. In addition, you and your allies have advantage on perception checks while in the aura, so it's a nice offensive one that can help you or your friends out. Notice that you can only apply advantage once per round since it uses your reaction, and it would use your reaction so you wouldn't be able to do a attack of opportunity. But if you're a caster-oriented druid anyway, you might not have much of an opportunity to use your reaction, so this helps give you that opportunity. Unicorn Spirit. It lends its protection to those nearby. You and your allies gain advantage on ability checks made to detect creatures in the spirit's aura. So if you're chasing down an invisible creature or a hidden creature, this gives you an advantage on being able to do that. Further, if you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points to any creature inside or outside the aura, each creature of your choice in the aura also regains hit points equal to your druid level. What this basically means is anytime that you cast a healing spell that uses a spell slot, that it doesn't matter whether the target is going to be inside the unicorn aura or outside the unicorn aura, but when you cast this spell, any of your allies that are inside your unicorn's aura get some passive hit points equal to your druid level every time that you do this. So this could be a good way to help spread some additional passive healing to all of your party members anytime that you want to do it. The Unicorn Spirit pairs off really well with the next couple of things that you get, which focus on your summoner aspect. At 6th level, you get Mighty Summoner, which makes it so that any of the creatures that you summon from summoning spells or any other kind of effect are a little bit buffer and have a little bit better combat abilities. The creature appears with more hit points than normal. They get 2 extra hit points per hit die that the monster has. And the damage from its natural weapons is considered magical for the purposes of overcoming immunity or damage resistance-based effects. At 10th level, you get Guardian Spirit, which is that your spirit totem safeguards the beasts and fae that you call forth with your magic. So this is where you pair your totem spirit with your monsters, your beast summons. When a beast or a fae that you summoned or created with a spell ends its turn in your spirit totem aura, that creature regains a number of hit points equal to half your druid level. So if you have a small arsenal, small army of beasts that you've summoned using a conjure woodland spirits or any of these other ones, they're all just going to passively regain hit points while they're inside your spirit totem's aura. This is cool. This is a lot of passive hit point recovery, especially when partnered up with the Unicorn Spirit, that if you're going to cast a healing spell, creatures inside the aura already get some more of your hit points as well. Lots of passive healing from these effects. At 14th level, you get Faithful Summons. The nature spirits you commune will protect you when you're most defenseless. If you fall to 0 hit points, you immediately gain the benefits of having cast a Conjure Animals spell as if it were cast using a 9th level spell slot. It summons 4 beasts of your choice that are challenge rating 2 or lower. The conjured beasts appear within 20 feet of you, and they'll protect you from harm and attack your foes if you don't otherwise give them some kind of command. The spell lasts for an hour, doesn't require concentration, and lasts until you dismiss it with no action required. You can only do this once per long rest. This is nice. You get a little bit of spirit protectors that even if when you fall in combat, you then get to add these minions to the battlefield and continue fighting or help protect you or something else along these lines. As you can see, the entirety of the Circle of the Shepherd class is really, our archetype is very heavily based on being a summoner. It's very battlefield control-y, being able to place your summoned spirit someplace and have passive effects either defensively or offensively in that area. And it helps buff up your conjuring and your summoning that you're going to do. A lot of people like doing a summoner style build for casters, and they previously were relegated to only doing it as a wizard or doing it as a bard or as a sorcerer. This now gives you the ability to play that kind of character as a druid, so I think a lot of people will really like this. The last section that Xanathar's Guide provides is not an archetype, but it's talking about how druids learn beast shapes. All druids get beast shape. I think they call it wild shape in this version. Yeah, wild shape as a second level druid, and it says that you can shapeshift into any of the beast forms that you have seen in your travels. Now that can be a little bit weird and it can be a little bit contentious for figuring out which beasts you have actually shapeshifted into. Oh yeah, no, I've seen a Tyrannosaurus before in my travels. No big deal. Really, Dungeon Master, I have seen a Tyrannosaurus. So this helps give you a level of definition and what kinds of things you can expect as a druid character. Or in my case, I've got 2 druids showing up at my next table. I'm going to give them a list of the different kinds of animal shapes that they can do because of what they've seen based on where they came from. And that's what's listed here. It gives you a whole bunch of tables based on the different regions and different natural environments that your druid has been through, whether they grew up there or if they passed through it, or if they hunted there, or if they were a protector there, or something like that. It gives you a table per landscape: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, hill, swamp, underdark, mountain, underwater, whatever. It gives you the CR of the animal that you find, the name of the animal, and then whether or not it has a fly or a swim speed, because that's one of the restrictions on the wild shape ability. You can only pick up the shape of an animal that has a fly speed or a swim speed if you're at a certain level druid. So it's nice to have these things here. But I like these. I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna start handing a list to my new druids of what creatures they've seen that they can shapeshift into, just so there's no weirdness, we've got no surprises at the table, and they know what all is the complete retinue that they're able to pick from and transform into when they're playing at the table. So that's everything that we get here for the new circles available for druids. I think both of them are really good. I think they're interesting. I'm personally more interested in the Circle of Dreams. I think that one's going to show up at my table for sure, regardless of whether one of my players picks them up. But the Circle of the Shepherd being a more summoner-oriented one, I think that there's a lot of people that like playing battlefield control and like playing summoner styles. So they're going to be able to torture their dungeon master with summoning all kinds of different beasts and stuff that are actually going to be a little more impactful now than they have been before in 5th edition. So I think people will really like it. Let me know what you think of these 2 new circles for the druid class. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know, especially if anybody that you're playing with is already doing these. Let me know what their experiences are, what their reactions are to the class. You can also come find me over on social media. I'm at Titan Bear Gaming. You can find me on basically any form of social media, but I'm really active on Twitter. Come chat me up over there. I'd love to talk to you. Until next time I see you, have more fun, would ya? It's good for you.